All About Deer, written and illustrated by Jim Arnosky. Thank you to Scholastic Incorporated for publishing this book. Have you ever wondered about a deer? How big is a deer? What do deer eat? What are antlers made of? Why do deer run away from us? This book answers these and other questions. It is all about deer. Deer are beautiful and graceful animals. Their slender legs give them a delicate, almost fragile appearance. But deer are tougher than they look. They have to be strong to survive in the wild. Deer are the smallest members of the family of animals known as Cervidae. Cervidae means deer or deer-like in Latin. The Cervidae family includes 20 species of deer and elk living in Europe, Asia, North Africa, and the Americas. In North and Central America, there are 6 major species: white-tailed deer, mule deer, black-tailed deer, caribou, elk, and moose. Since the white-tailed deer is the most widespread and in every way typical of all deer, the pictures throughout this book depict white-tailed deers. When viewed from the front or back, a deer's body is long and narrow. Their slender shape, combined with natural coloration, help deer blend into their woodland surroundings. Deer are cloven-hoofed animals. Each hoof has 2 large toes. Deer hoofs dig into the ground for sure footing. They are also sharp enough to stomp and slash at an enemy. The most common sign deer leave behind are their heart-shaped hoof prints. A deer can swivel each of its ears around on its head to listen in 2 directions at once. A deer's large ears cup air to pick up sounds from far away. The black skin covering a deer's nose is moist, scent-collecting skin. A deer's 3 most developed senses are hearing, smell, and sight. A female deer is called a doe. A male deer is called a buck. Only male deer, elk, and moose grow antlers. Both male and female caribou grow antlers. All antlers are grown and shed yearly. A deer's large eyes provide a wide field of view with binocular vision, forward and monocular vision to the sides. Deer are virtually colorblind, but they see shapes clearly and sharply and can detect the slightest of movements. Horns are hollow and made of hard skin. Antlers are not horns. Horns are permanent. They continue growing year after year all through an animal's life. Cattle, sheep, goats, bison, and antelope grow horns. Only the pronghorn antelope grows and sheds new horns yearly. But antlers are temporary. They begin growing in spring and drop off in the winter. In the spring, antlers begin as knobs and grow very rapidly. Their velvety covering is actually a network of nourishing blood vessels. In the summer, as the antlers grow, more blood is pumped up to nourish them. The deer's neck swells. In fall, the velvet dries and peels. Deer help remove it by rubbing their antlers on stems of small trees. And then in the winter, antlers drop off one at a time. Shed antlers are eaten by rodents. When a buck is 1 year old, it begins to grow its first pair of antlers, usually single-pointed spikes. The final year of a deer's yearly antler growth coincides with the deer's mating season. In autumn, bucks clash antlers, fighting to see which bucks will breed with the does. Each year's antlers grow thicker and bigger than the previous pair and usually have more points. A baby deer is called a fawn. Fawns are born in spring or early summer. Twins are common. Like all mammals, the fawn's first food is its mother's milk. Deer milk is very rich, and the fawns grow rapidly. A fawn's white spots are created by white-tipped hairs. By summer's end, the white tips have worn off and the fawn's coat is a uniform reddish-brown. Since her fawns are born odor-free, a mother deer keeps her distance, except when nursing, to avoid having her own scent draw predators on them. After 3 weeks, fawns follow their mother everywhere. In the summer, you can look for tracks of does and fawns pressed into the ground. All during summer, adult bucks live in small bands, apart from the does and fawns. The does travel with their fawns, sometimes joining other does with fawns and forming a small herd. In every herd, one doe becomes dominant overall. You can spot the lead doe in a herd. She's always on the alert, listening, smelling the air, and watching for any sign of danger. When the lead doe senses danger, she signals the herd by snorting loudly and stomping one hoof upon the ground. If the danger is near, the whole herd of deer will bolt, all leaping away at once. The flashing white tail of a running doe serves as a flag for her fawns to follow. Once a doe reaches a cover of trees, she feels safe enough to stop and look back to see where her fawns are and whether danger has passed. Some favorite deer foods are grasses, clover, berries, apples, deer can eat apple whole, acorns, cedars, and browse. A deer's jaws and teeth are made for eating coarse vegetation. The bottom front teeth are sharp and point outwards for nipping and pulling leaves and grasses. The large back teeth are made for mashing and grinding. Deer eat grasses, leaves, tender stems, soft green shoots, berries, nuts, and seeds. In winter, deer eat mostly browse, branch tips, small twigs, soft bark, and evergreen needles. In parts of the country with heavy winter snows, deer congregate in sheltering strands of evergreen trees. These areas are called deer yards. A deer is most vulnerable to predators when it is out in the open foraging for food. To limit time in the open, deer gather food quickly with very little chewing. The unchewed food is stored in the deer's rumen, the first compartment of the deer's four-part stomach. Later, the deer brings up wads of the stored food for chewing. These wads are called cuds. After each cud is chewed, it is reswallowed and is slowly digested as it passes through the remaining three compartments of the deer's stomach. A full-grown deer can quickly nip off and swallow up to 8 quarts of unchewed vegetation per feeding. When you see a deer chewing its cud, you know it feels secure and safe. With a top speed of 36 miles per hour, a mature deer can outrun any predator. A deer on the run can leap obstacles 8 feet high. When closely pursued, deer zig and zag and circle at full speed. But deer are not perfect. They trip and slip. They tumble and fall. They get stuck in deep snow and bogged down in mud. Many are caught and killed by predators. Humans, coyotes, wolves, and mountain lions hunt and eat deer. Domestic dogs sometimes run down deer. Severe winters, disease, and highway accidents all take a toll on deer. With all the dangers they face, deer continue to thrive and multiply, and have even adapted to suburban and some urban areas. Any little patch of field and wood can be home to deer.